It started with a username, not a face. In early October 2024, a quiet teenager from Istanbul began posting cryptic messages in private Discord servers. Within days, the chats turned into something darker: plans, drawings, and a confession no one believed was real. Then, one morning, the unthinkable happened. 2 lives were taken, a city was shaken, and the killer's final act was broadcast through the very platform that hid him. When police traced the messages, it was already too late. The footage was gone, the account deleted, but fragments remained, enough to reveal the digital trail of a disturbed mind. Tonight we opened file number 03, or the Discord Killer, the case that shook Turkey. October 4th, 2024, to Istanbul. The city was awake, unaware that history was about to stain one of its oldest walls. In the early hours, 19-year-old Sami Kelik left his home carrying 2 backpacks. Inside them, notebooks, sketches, and something far worse than anyone could imagine. Hours later, 2 young women, Akener Halil and Iqbal Uzuner, vanished after meeting him. No one knew why. Their friends received strange Discord messages, written in riddles and countdowns. By the time police connected the accounts, it was too late. The girls' phones went dark. The chat stopped mid-sentence. Later that evening, tourists near the ancient walls of Constantinople saw flashing lights and screaming officers. A man had been spotted standing above the edge, talking to his phone's camera before vanishing from view. Within minutes, footage began circulating online. Pixelated, shaky, terrifyingly calm. Authorities rushed to contain it, but the internet always moved faster than the law. Investigators pieced the timeline together: the Discord chats, the private voice calls, the final messages sent seconds before the signal cut out. What they found wasn't just a murder scene. It was a manifesto. Every act had been planned, drawn, rehearsed. His digital footprints formed a ritual of obsession: posts, edits, deleted accounts, test uploads. It was a crime staged not only for the world, but for the algorithm itself, a broadcast built to spread before it could be erased. As the city mourned, Discord servers went dark. Moderators banned thousands of users, and Turkey blocked the platform entirely. Yet for those who saw the fragments before deletion, one image stayed: the cold precision of a mind using the internet as its stage. Evil rarely arrives with a warning. For Sami Kelik, it began quietly, a lonely teen in his room, eyes glued to a screen that reflected only himself. At first his messages were harmless: music links, movie quotes, inside jokes shared in small Discord groups. Then came the isolation. He stopped going out, stopped answering friends. His posts grew darker, a blend of anger, resentment, and philosophy. Online, he found others who spoke the same language of bitterness. Forums where pain was validation and misery was a badge of honor. The more he read, the more those ideas became a mirror he couldn't look away from. To some, it was just another chat room. To him, it was a revelation. He began recording voice notes to himself, repeating phrases like mantras. No one sees the truth. They'll remember my name. Psychologists later called it a slow collapse, a digital hall of mirrors, where every reflection confirmed his belief that he was chosen to do something terrible. On Discord, he created private servers filled with drawings, symbols, and messages to an imaginary audience. In his mind, he wasn't planning violence. He was writing a manifesto for a world that didn't listen. The internet rewarded his madness with attention. Reactions, comments, shares, each one a small hit of validation that pushed him further away from reality. By the time friends noticed the change, it was too late. He'd found a digital audience that never argued back. What grew inside him was not sudden rage. It was belief without limits, a faith fed by screens and silence. The crime didn't end at the scene. It began again online. Within minutes, screenshots, clips, and reposts started appearing in private Discord servers and Telegram groups. Each claimed to show the original footage. None of them lasted long. Moderators deleted threads. Discord locked accounts. Turkey's cybercrime unit shut down thousands of servers overnight. But the more the system deleted, the faster the copies multiplied. People wanted to see what they were told not to. The digital aftershock became a storm: reaction videos, conspiracy posts, AI recreations, all claiming to explain what happened behind the walls. News outlets called it the crime that Discord couldn't contain. YouTube scrambled to remove mirror uploads, while hashtags trended for days under variations of his name. By morning, Discord access was gone for millions of users across Turkey. Overnight, an entire generation of gamers, students, and creators found themselves disconnected from their communities, punished for one man's horror. Governments cited safety. Citizens saw censorship, but in the vacuum that followed, rumors thrived: hidden copies, secret chats, alternate motives. Investigators later discovered hundreds of archived fragments on foreign servers, text logs, timestamps, deleted messages pieced back together like a mosaic of obsession. The result wasn't a single video, but 1,000 digital ghosts, each slightly different, each more distorted than the last. What began as one act of violence had become a self-replicating myth, a tragedy rewritten by algorithms, retold endlessly by strangers who never knew the victims. In a world built on sharing, erasure is an illusion. Justice came quietly, almost drowned by the noise of the internet. Weeks after the murders, investigators traced every message, download, and deleted chat. They built a map of digital footprints leading straight back to one mind. The question wasn't who anymore. It was why. Prosecutors described a calculated act meant to shock a nation. Psychiatrists described a boy collapsing under delusion. Both were right in fragments, but neither could explain the full picture. The court gathered in Istanbul under intense security. Cameras were banned. Coverage limited to transcripts and sketches. Forensic analysts presented pages of drawings, Discord logs, and timestamps. Psychologists testified about collective echo disorders, a condition where online validation replaces real human connection. The public wanted clarity, but the testimony only deepened confusion. Was this madness or ideology shaped by algorithms? As evidence filled the courtroom, the walls outside filled with protesters. Some demanded justice, others demanded censorship reform. Everyone agreed on one thing: the internet had played a role inside. Judges read messages written minutes before the murders. One phrase repeated again and again: "I am finally seen." That became the verdict's haunting echo. The trial concluded without spectacle. The sentence: life imprisonment, no parole. The file sealed under anti-terror provisions, but even in silence, the story didn't rest. Anonymous accounts reposted the case documents. Activists debated mental health funding, and streamers dissected courtroom leaks. Justice was served, yet nothing felt resolved, because the real judgment wasn't for the killer. It was for the system that watched it happen in real time and did nothing. The courtroom closed, but the case kept breathing through the internet. Weeks after the sentence, podcasts, streamers, and online commentators reignited the story, each turning it into something new. Some framed it as a cautionary tale about mental health. Others turned it into urban legend, claiming secret files and unseen recordings. The truth dissolved in speculation. On Discord, clones of the banned servers re-emerged under new names. Teenagers joined out of curiosity. A few stayed for the thrill of proximity to infamy. Hashtags trended again. Hashtag Discord killer. Hashtag erased truth. Hashtag banned footage. Every share felt like defiance. Every repost a rebellion against censorship. For researchers, the case became a blueprint, an example of digital contagion, how violence mutates into myth the moment it meets the algorithm. Turkish authorities expanded online monitoring programs. International outlets questioned the cost of censorship versus freedom. Yet the more governments tried to suppress the discussion, the more it spread. The legacy wasn't the act itself, but what followed, the collective curiosity that couldn't look away. On Reddit and YouTube, reaction videos blurred morality into entertainment. Comments turned tragedy into competition for views. Psychologists called it secondary radicalization, fascination transforming into imitation. Each new upload recycled the same images, the same phrases, until the original crime disappeared beneath the noise of its own retelling. File number 03, O became digital folklore, a story that everyone knows, but no one fully understands, because in the end, the echo became louder than the act. And maybe that's the real legacy, not the crime itself, but the proof that once horror goes viral, it stops belonging to reality and becomes part of culture. The Forbidden's archive keeps it here, not to glorify it, but to remember what happens when tragedy turns into trend. The Forbidden's archive doesn't end with answers. Only echoes. File number 030 was more than a crime. It was a broadcast that revealed how fragile our digital world has become. A single screen, a single voice, and an algorithm willing to amplify both. That's all it took. When the footage vanished, people searched harder. When access was blocked, they found mirrors. When facts grew cold, stories grew louder. The pattern repeats. Each time a tragedy trends, the internet turns into a theater of obsession, audiences consuming horror disguised as truth. We call it curiosity, but sometimes it's hunger. Platforms evolve, but the impulse doesn't. We scroll, we watch, we share, and each click feeds the very system we claim to fear. The Discord killer is gone. The victims are mourned, but the architecture that built the moment still stands, waiting for its next user, its next obsession, its next file. Technology was never evil. It's indifferent. The reflection it shows depends on who's staring back, and that reflection keeps growing darker. Maybe the real warning of file number 03, O isn't about murder or madness, it's about amplification. How easily one voice can become a movement, and one movement can become a myth. Somewhere right now another message is being typed. Another video queued, another feed prepared to repeat the same cycle. The archive will open again. The question is, will we finally learn or just keep watching? File number 030, closed, end of transmission. If you thought the horror ended here, you're wrong. What other dark rituals and forbidden practices are still being performed in secret? Dive deeper into the chilling world of haunted ceremonies, banned footage, and eerie folklore that refuses to stay buried. Click on the playlist to uncover terrifying recordings, lost evidence, and disturbing stories they never wanted you to see. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for weekly uploads of spine-tingling footage and dark tales that echo from the shadows. This is the Forbidden's Archive, where the hidden truth and haunting evidence come to life.